The measure of a man is what he does with power. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Courage is knowing what not to fear. Ideas are the source of all things. Philosophy begins in wonder. Knowledge, which is acquired on compulsion, obtains no hold on the mind. Music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Only the dead have seen the end of war. The heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Those who tell the stories rule society. To be afraid of death is only another form of thinking that one is wise when one is not. It is to think that one knows what one does not know. An empty vessel makes the loudest sound, so they that have the least wit are the greatest babblers. Justice means minding your own business and not meddling with other men's concerns. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. You can discover more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. Man is a tame or civilized animal. Nevertheless, he requires proper instruction and a fortunate nature. And then of all animals, he becomes the most divine and most civilized. But if he be insufficiently or ill-educated, he is the most savage of earthly creatures. Truth is its own reward. Rhetoric is the art of ruling the minds of men. There is no harm in repeating a good thing. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. Wisdom alone is the science of other sciences. Any man may easily do harm, but not every man can do good to another. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil. There are three classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. The soul of man is immortal and imperishable. Injustice is censured because the censures are afraid of suffering, and not from any fear which they have of doing injustice. Necessity is the mother of invention. Books give a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. The measure of a man is what he does with power. Apply yourself both now and in the next life. Without effort, you cannot be prosperous. Though the land be good, you cannot have an abundant crop without cultivation. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. At a touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. When men speak ill of thee, live so as nobody may believe them. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. The direction in which education starts a man will determine his future in life. Thinking, the talking of the soul with itself. No evil can happen to a good man, either in life or after death. A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. One's real life is often the life that one does not lead. Knowledge, which is acquired under compulsion, has no hold on the mind. Therefore, do not use compulsion, but let early education be a sort of amusement. You will then be better able to discover the child's natural bent. People are like dirt. They can either nourish you and help you grow as a person, or they can stunt your growth and make you wilt and die. Love is a serious mental disease. The heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. Courage is a kind of salvation. The greatest mistake in the treatment of diseases is that there are physicians for the body and physicians for the soul, although the two cannot be separated. For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories. The first and best victory is to conquer self. The God that gave us life gave us liberty at the same time. We are twice armed if we fight with faith. You cannot conceive the many without the one. Better a little which is well done than a great deal imperfectly. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. Poetry is nearer to vital truth than history. Attention to health is life's greatest hindrance. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The most important part of education is proper training in the nursery. The soul takes nothing with her to the next world but her education and her culture. At the beginning of the journey to the next world, one's education and culture can either provide the greatest assistance or else act as the greatest burden to the person who has just died. Excess of liberty, whether it lies in state or individuals, seems only to pass into excess of slavery. There is truth in wine and children. Character is simply habit long continued. He who wishes to serve his country must have not only the power to think, but the will to act. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work.